couple things that we need to do yet, but we're on target to do that on June 7th. The parade, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I believe it's going to be at 11 o'clock, and it'll run through areas of Delavan and Darien, and then end over at Hunters.
Perfect. Any questions of the chief?
Was it the 27th or the 7th of June?
The
The
7th of
7th
June.
of June.
Okay.
That was the 7th of June, right? Sunday, June 7th?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Also, under communications, many of you probably knew Mr. Harry Larson. If not Mr. Harry Larson personally, you probably know his daughter Patty, who has Patty's Deli downtown. Unfortunately, we lost Harry recently to passing, and I just wanted to all of us keep him and certainly his family in mind during this difficult time. Harry was a longtime World War II veteran, a POW. Also had many accolades serving in the military as a veteran, a Purple Heart, a Bronze Star, among other awards, and dedicated 25 years of service overall to the city of Delavan and the police department, serving as police chief here in the city of Delavan from 1968 to 1978. So at this time, I'd just like to maybe do a moment of silence in recognition of Harry Larson and his dedication to our nation and to this city. Thank you, and again, keep Harry Larson and Patty and the rest of his family in mind during this difficult time. So, moving on to item number 5 is public comments at this time. I would ask any citizens who wish to address the meeting at this time to limit your comments to items that are actually on the agenda, and one time for about 3 minutes maximum. Is there anyone that's wanting to speak at this point? Their public comments. Oh, Chris, did you want to? You're one of the agenda items, and I mean, why don't you go now since you're here, and then you are on the agenda later. So if there's any questions at that time, you can.
Hi, I'm Chris Marsicano. I live at 221 Inlet Shore Drive in the township of Delavan, but I do own the Village Supper Club out of Delavan Lake, and I'm also president of the Tavern League of Wisconsin. And I'm here representing my fellow bar owners. I've just come from the township meeting, and the township just lowered the liquor licenses out there to $50 for the Class Bs, lowest amount allowed by state statute, and $0 for the Class B and Class C beer and wine. I would like to ask that the city also consider lowering the liquor licenses. As you know, with the pandemic, we have just been shut down for 58 days. And some of us that don't serve food were shut down completely. Like Mr. Clevine from New Horizons here, he was shut down completely, couldn't sell anything. Some of us did to-goes, but the ones of us doing to-goes were operating at about 25%, which doesn't pay the bills, and because the bills still come in at 100%. And it's going to be a tough year for us. It doesn't seem like a lot to say $500-600 per business, but it is a lot when you get down to it, because everything else has been piling up on us. We're going to open up now this next week. A lot of people are starting to get into it, but we're not going to have a summer like we're used to having in a summer town like Delavan, Lake Geneva area. We have a lot of catching up to do. Usually we stockpile the money we make in the summer to get through the winter. We are not going to have that advantage this year because in my own restaurant, for example, I've lost about 15 tables. You're not going to be able to serve the quantity of people to make the money to get through the winter. And I know, places that open now will be here maybe in June, July, and August, but the real time to tell is going to be in November, December, October, when the summer people dry up and the money's not coming in every day. And I think, unfortunately, not just in Delavan, but around the state, there's an estimate that you might see 45% of restaurants and bars go out of business come this fall. So it does mean a lot to them, and it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it is a lot of money. And also, we're all community. We're asking for renewals, not new license holders, but renewals for the 2021 year. And keep in mind, everybody is a member of the community, and most of them I know by name and know by reputation, and they are good community members that always give back to the community when there's something to do, and the city needs help with a parade, city needs help with the fireman's dance, city needs help with fireworks show or whatever it might be. The bars and the restaurants are always the first ones that kick in, so we would hope that you could look to giving us a little break this time, because it's been a terrible last 2.5 months. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Anyone else that would wish to make public comments at this time? Jim? We just would ask that you go to the microphone so that...
It's not on the agenda. It's very brief though.
We've got this portion should be really limited to anything that's on tonight's agenda. There's...
A letter for you all?
Sure, sure.
That's all I would have to do.
Okay. Yeah, leave it with the clerk, absolutely. Thanks, Jim. Any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, which is consider appointment of the 3rd District open seat for Alderman. 6.1, Joe Gerhardt. 6.2, Corey Kunine. 6.3, Chris Lindloff. 6.4, Dave Maliso. And 6.5, Tommy Purcell. Just for everyone on the council, those out in the gallery, anyone watching at home, listening on Zoom, first of all, I would just say that we've got five great candidates. It's a nice problem to have. We don't always have this issue, and so each of the candidates I know are known by us, known in the community. Each bring a different perspective, some experience, and different background to being involved in their community. So again, it's a nice. It's nice to see that this many people came out to apply for this position. I think what we'll do, if there's no objections, we'll go in the order that I just read the names off and give each individual an opportunity for 3 minutes to just tell us a little bit about themselves. We all got the application and answers to the 9 various different questions that were asked. And then if there's additional comments or questions, we can tackle them at that time. When all of the 5 candidates have had an opportunity to speak, we can do, if there's, again, no objections, a little bit of deliberation on each 5 and maybe some follow-up questions or comments, and before we have any nominations, making it fair for each individual. So we'll start with Joe Gerhardt. Joe, if you want to come up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored and humbled to be here. When I moved here to Delavan, my wife 14 years ago, she had just been transferred to Dousman's new terminal over on Knob Street there. I had just been told I was no longer able to work a full-time job. I needed something to do to give back. I felt that taking workman's comp or disability wasn't right at my age, so I joined the Elks to start giving back to the community. After 2 years in the Elks, I was made chaplain, where I remained until the lodge closed. During this time, I met Ryan, Raphael, Delavan, Chris, and Patty Marsicano, learned about the community and how much this community gives. Shortly after that, Mayor Mell asked me to become a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I served on that board for 4 years. Didn't really get enough feel for the city, but I'm still wanting to learn. Last year, Ryan came and asked me if I'd go on the Communications Committee, so I've been serving on that ever since. I want to continue to learn about the history of Delavan. I want to continue to make a difference. I have plenty of free time, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make the city move forward. That's pretty much all I got.
Okay. Anyone have any questions, or we'll just, of Joe, or at this time? Seeing none, then we'll move on to 6.2, Corey Kunine.
Hello, thanks for taking the time to consider my application. Excuse my hair, for some reason I can't get in to see a barber, I don't know what's going on. It seems like everything I'm saying is off my application, I'm sorry, I'm pretty thorough there and not really great about talking about myself. Been on the fire department for 22 plus years, serving, followed the footsteps of my dad, he joined in '87. You know, I just right out of high school, as soon as I possibly could join, I joined, and you know, I've always wanted to serve in a capacity, and that was the way I could do it. And until about, I don't know, 4.5 years ago, when I started joining, or I got on the planning commission, and been doing that for the last 4+ years. And wanted to get on the police and fire commission, but that was a conflict, and I think Steven stopped me. But that's all right. It's probably better that I wasn't on that one. But I'm always looking for better or more ways to give back and help out the community that I love so much. So, thank you.
Any questions this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6.3, which is Chris Lindlaw.
Hello, thank you for having me come tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Lifelong Delavan resident, born and raised in the township, and then moved to the city right after, you know, in between college. Graduated college at UW Whitewater, lived here my whole life with my family, my wife and my 2 kids. I'm a corrections field supervisor for probation or parole agents in Elkhorn right now. Been doing probation or parole for about 19 years. Everything I do is to give back to the community, and I always give 110%. I'm on the planning commission right now. I was on the planning commission before. I run a Boy Scout troop. I'm a Scoutmaster. I started that back up after starting back up the Cub Scout pack in Williams Bay. My wife and I run that. We're both on district committee for that. We ran camporees. We do all that stuff for Glacier's Edge, our big council. Was on the fire department for 15 years, was an EMT for 12 of those years. Went up to the rank of lieutenant with that, was fire inspector for a while. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff. You have it all right in front of you. Like I said before, basically all I do in my life is give back, and I think this is the next step for me to be able to do that and to continue doing that in every aspect that I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions at this time for Chris?
No.
Seeing none, 6.4 is Dave Malisow.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council people. I just wanted to say I'm Dave Malisow. I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I married into a large family in Delavan, the Perkins family. I married my wife Debbie, my son Zachary over there. I enjoy the quality of life I've grown to know in Delavan, and I've currently been serving at St. Andrews on the school committee as well as the buildings and grounds, and I wanted to broaden my horizons in public serving and open it up to the public forum. I feel that my business, I've been in industrial distribution for over 30 years. I currently run the Harley-Davidson site for Fastenal. I've managed millions of dollars of their money. And I feel this would be an asset to the committee and the city. And I want to see Delavan grow, and I want to ensure the quality of life for my son Zachary, as well as future families or people that want to move into our community. And I also did run for the 3rd District Alderman seat, and the more formidable candidate won, and congratulations, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Is there any other questions at this time for Dave? Seeing none, we'll move on to 6.5, which is Tommy Purcell.
Hello, everyone. Tommy Purcell. I'm the second mayor of Delavan. Ryan's the first. Really quick, I've had a great time with Ryan over the 4 months. It's been great. I've got to know Ryan even a lot better. He's a great guy. Phenomenal. Been out here 31 years. Got a business, hunters. We do a lot in the community. We want to do a lot more. I love my city. Love it. I can move anywhere, do what I want. I'm staying here until I die. We give and give and give. We've got a phenomenal business, which is nice because then we can free up money to do things for the community and everything else. Got a lot of other things we want to do in the community, but I think I'd be a great fit for this. It's nice. I love it. The council's great. All of you have been great. I know almost all of you. It's just a thing that I want to do. I've got time to do it, and I'm going to put 150% of love into it. It's just a great thing. It is. You got my sheet. I wrote everything down on there. But that's pretty much where I'm at. I want to keep giving as much as you can give. And there's a lot of people in here that are friends of mine, and I love them. I love everyone. I mean, it's what we got to do. We got to stay as a community. We got to stay tough, strong. And the more we can give, the more we can do, it's going to be better for everyone, our kids, everything. So I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tommy at this point? Seeing none. As I had mentioned at the beginning, and it's worth recapping, we got 5 very good candidates. You heard from all of them, and it's a good problem to have. We don't always have that issue. You can look to the Delavan Township. They just appointed someone because somebody wasn't willing to run this last spring for a seat. So to have 5 good candidates is amazing, and so we'll have some further deliberation amongst the council, and whether that's one person out of the bunch nominated or perhaps others, according to Robert's Rules of Order, whether it's one or person that's nominated in the second, I still call out if there's any other nominations beyond that. So don't be offended if there is one nominated, and I still look to see if there's anyone else. That's the way Robert Rules of Order goes. So we'll start with deliberations from the council. I don't know who wants to begin.
I'll go ahead. Okay. I want to say thank you to all of you for submitting your resumes and your answers to the questions. It's hard because you all have offered so much to the city in so many different ways. So I really appreciate that, and I think everybody up here does. Obviously, you're all very well qualified. I guess the only thing that I would like to say is I think maybe something the council should consider is the fact that Tom and Dave had both participated in the past election, so they've shown kind of that commitment to want to run and to be part of the council. But like I said before, that doesn't take away from anybody else who's in here. I think you guys all had really nice resumes, and you all wrote really nice things, and you do good things for the city. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Who would like to go next?
I'd like to echo some of that. I'm definitely happy to see, and keep in mind, I don't know everyone as well as everyone else knows each other. So for me to go through and get a glimpse of what you've done and how you've committed to the city and your tenure of being here, living your life with your family and your commitments, it really helps me to understand who you are and why you care so much about this. A couple of you reached out and talked to me on the phone. You found my phone number and called me directly. I really, really like that. I'm happy that that took place, and I encourage that in every capacity. Please, call me, talk to me for anything. I know that this is a position that you'll be looking at potentially running again. I encourage everybody to do that as well. Being part of the community means putting forth the effort, getting yourself out on the ballot, and doing the actual work. That's the only thing that I want to remind everyone of. In this past week, we've met 5 times. Keep in mind, 3 of us are brand new in this position, and we were here every single time. There is a lot of work that needs to be done, so I want to make sure that when you're running for this position and you're asking to be part of this, you're willing to put in the work. There is quite a bit of work, and it's a lot behind the scenes. So thank you for putting in your application, and I just want to make sure that everyone is ready for what you're asking for.
Good point. Who would like to go next?
I just want to thank you guys for applying. I think it's a coin toss. Any one of you guys are qualified, and we'll have to decide.
I'd also like to thank everybody that submitted their application. I got phone calls also. Thank you for that. I really appreciated hearing from you guys and kind of getting a feel. And, you know, 2 of you have ran this past election. I know that Corey has been here in pretty much all the meetings since we've been here, so that's admiring. I know, Chris, you have a lot of experience. You got an impressive resume. I mean, Joseph, thank you for serving. My brother's a Navy veteran as well. He was in San Diego, so thank you for that. So it's amazing to see the group of people that we have. Definitely, you don't make it easy, and if we could pick you all, but we have to pick one. And you know, I think, you know, we have people that love Delavan. That's important to see. Thank you for that.
Alderman Henriot?
I think I'm the oldest guy here. In fact, I know I'm the oldest guy next to Clivey. But I really appreciate the numbers that came out for this. There's been a lot of years we've had elections here where we haven't had any spare bodies. We had one person per place, and they pretty much walked into the job. And it's nice to see this back out where there's some competition here. I think everybody that spoke up here spoke well tonight. I've talked to most of you outside of here, and you've got good ideas. I think you've worked hard and well with everybody that you've been in contact with as far as working on different boards and commissions, and even when you're not serving the city in anything that seems to you to be a real important position, it still is something that we need here. And I'm really glad to see what we have here for talent here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I add something?
Sure.
This is for anybody that doesn't get the position. Keep in mind, we need all the help we can get with other appointments, committees, and please reach out to the mayor. He's a great guy. I've had nothing but good things so far, and we'll definitely find something that works to your strengths and helps you participate in the city development. So I'm glad everybody's here.
Absolutely. Any other comments, questions, last minute thoughts before we entertain some sort of a motion? Seeing none, is there a motion of some sort?
I would move to make a motion to nominate Tom Purcell for the vacant alderman seat.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Corey.
I'll second that as well.
Is there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate David.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? One last time, any other nominations? We've got 3. So,
Move the nominations be closed.
all right, there's a motion.
I'll second
Closes
that.
them. All right. We've got 3 nominations, as I pointed out.
We should probably vote on Alderman Henriot's motion first because he moved to close the nomination.
Good point. Motion, there was a motion. Is there a second to close? I think there was a second. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Nominations are closed. And we do, again, have 3 nominations.
I would propose we take them one at a time and start with the first nomination and have votes on those.
All right. Clerk, did you want to, just for everyone's reminder, run through the first motion?
The first motion was a motion to nominate Tommy Purcell.
Okay. I don't know if we want to have, I mean, there's a motion and a second, and any further discussion on the first motion? See none. Did we want to do some sort of a roll call, I would think? All right.
Alderwoman Deshner Brandt? Yes. Alderman Henriot?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
This is hard. It is hard. Yes.
Alderman Beezer?
No.
Alderman Solis?
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Motion passes 3-2. Well, thank you again for those that participated. Again, this was the term to fill the 1-year term, and as everyone reiterated, we had a lot of great candidates. It's a tough decision to make. Glad I didn't have to make it. So, welcome, Tommy. We're going to do a little swearing in here. Yep, you get to officially join us now.
Take your hat off.
I know, I'm lost without this. What do I do?
Get in the chair.
Say what I say. All right. You can stand up and repeat after her.
There we go.
Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Just a little excited here.
I, Tommy Purcell,
I, Tommy Purcell,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of Alderman
discharge the duties of Alderman
for the City of Delavan
for the City of Delavan
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Congratulations again, Alderman Purcell.
Thank you, Mayor Schroeder. Thank you, guys.
Moving on to item number 7 is 7.1 is Finance Committee and Treasurer's Report. I will see. As chair of the Finance Committee, the Finance Committee met on Tuesday, May 12th here at City Hall, and there are a number of items on tonight's agenda. And the minutes from the May 12th meeting are on file with the city clerk for public inspection, so anyone that has any questions or would like further details on the minutes can see the city clerk on that. And again, we have several items on tonight's agenda for further discussion this evening. I would entertain a motion at this time to approve the city investments.
I'd make that motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 7.2 is general operations. Alderman Henriot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me get straightened around here. Yes. Bear with an old guy, will you? We met on May 6th at, oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong one. May 12th. Met on May 12th and we covered the review of the police reports, activity for Darien and Delavan, the false alarms, the operator's licenses that were issued, the ambulance activity report, the medics reports, the building and zoning administrator's report, and the monthly activity reports for him. Item 4 was business for the city, and Strategic Materials came in and talked to us the other night. And they gave us a 1-hour talk, and it was a report for everything they've been doing out there. They've had lots of problems out there. They've had a couple of fires this past year, and they have stuck, excuse me, Denise, if it's wrong, but I think it was well over $1 million you've got going in there, and it's probably going to be a whole lot higher than that. The Temperance House, we still haven't had an update on it yet. We'll be getting back into that next month. We're also considering staff recommendations regarding the status of certain events and services due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And right now we have taken some moves here to take care of events through the 4th of July. There will be no traditional parade, but look at a community-based alternative. There's no city activities at Phoenix Park, no determination yet on whether the Friends of the Band Shell will hold a concert. Fireworks, a determination will be made at the GOC meeting on June 2nd. If you'd like to come down to that and listen to it, you can put input into that meeting if you would like. The Mill Pond will not be open to the general public during the 2020 season. Small groups, special programming may occur, and they may have kayak rentals on Lake Comus available for limited hours and by advance reservation. In our pavilions, we have no reservations until county guidance allows for larger gatherings, which are groups of up to 50 people. Picnic tables will not be located in pavilions until they are available for rent. Our restrooms in our parks would be porta potties in strategic locations that are planned, and they are used at your own risk. City restrooms will not be opened at this time. That's all I have to report. On the July 4th, we will be moving ahead for action to take on the 4th of July fireworks on our next, that would be on our next meeting, correct?
Correct.
You can come down to that meeting too, and if you'd like to have some input put in on it. That's all I have on GOC. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Henriette. Moving on to 7.3 is the Planning Commission. Alderman Beazer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Planning Commission met May 4th. The minutes are on file with the City Clerk, and if anyone is interested in looking at them, feel free. We have a number of items that are coming, we're going to be looking at further on down in the agenda, and we can talk about those when we get to them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 7.4 is Public Works. Alderman Deschner-Brandt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works met on May 12th. We approved the new conceptual placement of the new water main on the west side of Highway F. Also approved a change for a weekly curbside call in bush pickup instead of the monthly pickup, so that's just going to be changing a little bit. And then the cutoff for any of that would be after the Thanksgiving holiday, so it's not running past that time. We also accepted the 2019 Consumer Confidence Report, which can be found on the city's website in case anybody wants to read that. And our next meeting is Tuesday, June 23rd at 5:30 right here.
Thank you. Item number 7.5, Town of Delavan Lake Committee. Alderman Henriot?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Delavan Town of Delavan Lake Committee met on May 6th. We had a little over 3 hours for a meeting that night. It was on the lake cleanup project, which is going to be starting this summer. They are going to be dredging Delavan Lake again. Actually, the 3 ponds that are sediment ponds which feed into Delavan Lake, they're spending a large amount of money to work on this. They gave in their committee meeting that night, they started off with a presentation from Lake Lawn. There was a large crowd there that night, and there was a lot of opposition for some of Lake Lawn's proposals that they had out there. They have 101 units they're going to build. They're going to put in some more boat storage areas out there, and there were a lot of people that were not happy with it. We did have an excellent speaker that showed up for the meeting there that night, who explained how the new proposals would work out on the lake. They have a couple of different proposals they're working on. They did a lot of work already through the state, and they have been working pretty diligently. Started their lake weed harvesting out there now. They've got a lot of other little things that they're doing before they go into the main area of dredging out there. They've also brought up some proposals for an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Delavan for maintenance and capital projects. They will be working on the inlet bridge. Chris, do you have the month they're going to do that in August?
No.
June? Okay, I think that's a short term, what is it, about 3 weeks?
Before the 4th of July.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they're supposed, the bridge itself, they were supposed to have done between June 6th and the 4th of July, so. There's gonna be a lot of work out there this summer, and hopefully it turns out as well as it did the last time. Just, my hope is that it lasts longer. After the last 2 months, the bridge out is the last thing you need. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Henriot. Moving on to item number 7.6 is Library Board of Trustees. Alderwoman Carrie Deschner Brandt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have not met since our last council meeting, so our next meeting is actually this Thursday at 5:30. It's going to be taking place via Zoom, and if you want to attend that meeting, that information will be posted on the library door.
Thank you. Item number 7.7, Park and Recreation Commission. I don't believe they've had a meeting, so there's no update at this point. 7.8 is Communications Commission. I have been the council representative to that in the past. We have not had a meeting since our last council meeting, and going forward, Alderman Luis Solis will be the representative on the Communications Commission, so you can take over the reins of giving an update and as we go forward on that item. Item number 7.9 is the Delavan Downtown Project Management Team. I too have been the council rep on this committee in the past, and I know Alderwoman Carrie Deschner-Brandt has attended our meetings in the past, so I'm happy to say that she'll serve as the council representative going forward on that. I know one thing that we did recently, we have not had an official meeting for the Delavan Downtown Project Management Team since we last met as a council. We're not, Denise, there won't be one at the end of this month,
I've got
correct?
June 30th.
June 30th.
Not until June 30th, yeah. And so, yeah, going forward, Alderwoman Carrie Deschner-Brandt will give us an update on that going forward. Item number 7.10 is the Delbrook Golf Commission. Alderman Henriette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Delbrook has not yet met this month. They will be meeting this Thursday, May 21st at 6:30. You're all invited to attend if you'd like.
Thank you. Item 7.11, Tourism Commission, Alderman Henriette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The tourism group, I noticed I got a little change this afternoon in it. Tourism group will be meeting at 7:30 a.m. on Wednesday, May 27th. They have not yet met this month. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Item number 8 is the Planning Commission. 8.1, consider a request for a conditional use permit for an indoor sales or service land use at 319 South Wright Street in the Business Regional PR Zoning District. Applicant Dustin Heine, Freedom Fireworks LLC. I think we have Dustin on Zoom, so he's in attendance. Thank you for joining us. Is there any kind of a report or a motion at this time?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move to approve the conditional use findings listed below under the conditional use findings and issuance of limited conditional use permit for the indoor sales or service land use for the property at 319 South Wright Street, located in the Business Regional BR Zoning District, to the applicant Dustin Hine, Freedom Fireworks LLC, subject to the conditions of approval listed below under conditions of approval, including any additions as may be identified by the Common Council.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 8.2 is consider a two-lot division request by Certified Survey Map, CSM, for the vacant parcel on East Geneva Street east of Aldi's. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move to approve the proposed two-lot CSM land division for the vacant parcel known as Lot 3 of the Lowe's Development Subdivision as presented.
I'd make a second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 9 is Finance Committee. 9.1 is the approval of the bills warrant 20-04.
I would move that we approve the bills.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I did have a question. I wrote it down. There was an invoice, number 64-216. I believe it's on page 26 of this 35-page. Let me see if we can get there. For the amount of $10,243.66, it was a forfeiture. I just had a little, I was curious about that. What was it for?
What page was it again?
Page 26. Invoice number.
That is, so what happens is that all our fees we receive from the court, And so then a certain portion of those go to the county, some of it goes to the state. And so those are the payments from the fines and forfeitures that we collect in municipal court. That is the distribution to that, I believe it was to the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, for the state, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So
Okay.
that's a monthly amount normally that you'll see on there. We collect all the fees, and then those are distributed usually on a monthly basis to those other agencies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions as it relates to warrant 20-04? There was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, do you want a roll call vote on that, or no roll call? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 9.2 is consider an amendment to Title 9, Chapter 3, Section 52 of the City of Delavan Code of Ordinances establishing welcome at 2020 rates as the high-strength surcharge rates for the City of Delavan.
Mr. Mayor, based on the decision made by the Finance Committee, I'd like to move to approve the adoption of the ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 3, Section 52 of the City of Delavan Code of Ordinances establishing welcome at 2020 rates as the high-strength surcharge rates for the City of Delavan.
Thank you. There's a motion
Second?
and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor, I'd like to abstain from that.
Me as well.
Let the minutes reflect that both Alderman Henriot and Alderman Wilson abstained from voting. Thank you both. Item number 9.3 is consider resolution declaring certain fire department equipment surplus property.
And Mr. Mayor, based on the decision by the Finance Committee, I would move to approve the proposed resolution declaring the Fire Department Motorola portable radios and SCBA air cylinders bottles surplus property.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a
You got
motion.
some good stuff.
Yeah. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 9.4 is consider resolution declaring Eventide Recording System surplus property.
And this was brought into the Finance Committee again, and I would make the motion to approve the proposed resolution declaring the Eventide recording equipment surplus property and allowing its donation to Walworth County.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 10 is General Operations Committee. 10.1 is consider an ordinance amendments and related resolution providing for a reduction of renewal fees for Class B beer liquor license, Class C wine license, certain operators permits, and amusement devices, bowling alley, pool table license due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I make a motion that we
I'd second.
reduce the fees.
Yeah, I'd second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Do you need the number?
10.1.
Do you want to,
I mean, the number that we're gonna reduce it to?
yeah, based on these, if you want to read,
Yeah.
that could be part of the motion. If you've got it here under 10.1.
Yeah, I got it right.
Okay, yeah. If you want to, that wouldn't.
Okay.
Do-
Motion and second.
Did you, I mean, in that, did you have the amounts then, or?
In the ordinance,
Yeah, okay.
So that we approve the ordinance then.
Yep. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Is this just the fees, or are we approving the ordinance change?
The motion probably should be to approve, if you wish to approve it, to approve the proposed ordinance changes to section 7-2-5, 7-2-33, 7-8-1, and 7-8-3. That's how I understood the motion.
Yep,
That's how I made the motion.
that's what, yep.
Well, I want to make sure.
Do you,
So there's been a motion and a second.
Do you want me to maybe explain what?
Yeah.
Okay, but it might be a little easier. Currently, our fees are established in the code, so we're really making two changes today, or proposing two different changes. One is to amend our municipal code, deleting our fees from the code, and the second action would be actually to establish the fees by resolution. So there is really two steps here, and so we're trying to clean up our code and make our fees established by resolution versus in the code. In terms of the amounts, I believe that for the A and C licenses, excuse me, for the B, beer and liquor, and for the C license, we're looking at the state minimums, so that would be the $50 or zero. Operator's license, we're looking at certain operator's license, so if it's an operator's license that is being used in conjunction with a B or C facility, they would be would be a reduction in their renewal. They would just pay for the second year and not anything for their first year. And I think, and then the amusement, again, if it's with, associated with a Class B or a Class C license, those would also be waived for this renewal period.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, thank you, Chris, for coming out and speaking during the public comments, and thanks for the additional information, Denise. There's a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Couple
Yep.
bar owners are
Resolution.
smiling over there.
Mr. Mayor, the next thing should be the proposed resolution establishing the fees.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
I'll make the motion to approve the proposed resolution establishing license fees for liquor licenses, operator licenses, amusement devices, billiard tables, pool tables, and bowling alleys.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to make the motion to approve a refund of renewal fees paid by Class B and Class C license holders who have already submitted their 2020 renewal applications and fees in accordance with the provision of the approved resolution establishing license fees.
Second that?
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thanks, everyone. Item number 11 is other business. Item number 11.1 is consideration of additional flexibility in issuing sidewalk cafe permits for 2020 in light of COVID-19 impacts on restaurants in general and specifically on seating capacity. Denise, did you want to just give a little update on what
yes.
we're looking at doing?
We currently have a permit for outside cafes as well as for merchandise areas in the downtown. There's no fee associated with those. There is an application and there's certain requirements that has to be followed. One of the things that we're looking at, especially, we were requiring like a 5-foot walkway would be maintained, which exceeds the ADA accessibility standards. Given the current COVID implications here for the community, we're trying to create as much outdoor seating that would be possible for our downtown restaurants. And so what we're just recommending is that for this year, and then we can evaluate it after this year, to allow us to look at the ADA minimum access standard versus going with the 5-foot that's currently in the policy.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass that.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 11.2 is possible consideration of a further extension of and/or modifications to the resolution declaring a local state of emergency and granting the mayor and the city administrator joint executive authority to take appropriate actions for the protection of city employees and the general public in response to COVID-19. Denise, did you want to explain
Yes,
this?
I believe that you received a corrected resolution that's now numbered correctly or lettered correctly. And basically, this incorporates most of the provisions that were in the original resolution. It does, however, clarify that it covers all city buildings and city property and rights-of-way, which was per the discussion and the direction provided by the council at the special meeting on Friday evening. It also, again, does not establish any regulations in terms of private businesses or organizations or houses of worship, but it just strongly recommends that those facilities follow the guidance provided by the county, or in the case of businesses, also WEDC. So I believe that it encompasses, I think, the things that we discussed on Friday evening.
Thank you. Denise, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion that this passes. 11-2.
There's a motion, and is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to make a couple of comments. As we know, the Supreme Court overturned the governor's decision to close Wisconsin in light of the COVID epidemic. The Supreme Court's decision was based off of law, not based off of medicine. And viruses don't care about law at all. Immediately afterwards, we saw in the news that people went to bars and other places, even getting their haircuts right away.
Nothing wrong with that.
What I want to talk about is my experience when I went out into the community. Now, I go out into the community and I'm making sure that I'm protecting my family. We have a clean room established at home, and we have a set of practices that my wife and I adhere to religiously whenever we go out to get supplies or anything else. While I was out, in every establishment that I visited, no one was maintaining social distancing. No one was using masks in consistency. People were walking wherever they wanted to as if nothing had changed. I want to stress to our community that the reason why we don't have as many problems in our community is because we are small and we are enclosed. We're stuck between Janesville, Milwaukee, Chicago. Those are hotspots and have been hotspots, and they are growing. So if we want to make sure that our community members are safe, we really need to adhere to the ideas of safe practices in terms of virus epidemics and outbreaks. Yes, our businesses are open, but that does not mean that we should take advantage of the fact that they're open. Think about your friends, your family, your loved ones. You're trying to protect your neighbors. You're not out there wearing a mask to protect yourself. You're wearing a mask to protect the people that you care about. Make sure that you're doing the right thing, and make sure you're teaching your children and everyone else around you. This is important.
Thank you, Alderman Beezer. Any other comments? I just would add for the record that where I got my haircut was a small business right here in the city of Delavan. That was very responsible. I wore a mask during the entire time I got my haircut, and I'm glad that that was a business that was completely shut the entire time, had no opportunity to do any curbside services at any point. So I did get a haircut, and it was bothering me. I could not wait any longer. So once it was legally open, and
Get that earlier or later? A little early, maybe?
no, it was under the new orders to be open. So, but yeah, just we definitely want to do this responsibly and with the mindset to keep everyone safe, and so that's what this resolution I think does, and it was mentioned earlier that we have had an awful lot of special meetings. This is a new council, and so I do give this new council a lot of credit for having to make a lot of tough decisions in a very short amount of time, and with the mindset to protect all of you and protect our small businesses and the community as a whole. So kudos to the council. And with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 12 is appointments. If you recall, last month, and again, now that we have a new other person, and we're at a full council level, last month I had just announced at that time, not knowing who might take over the 3rd District Alderman open seat, just the chair and the co-chair of those 3 standing committees. So at this point, now that we have a full council, and this is no vote required, serving on the Finance Committee is myself as chairman, Carrie is the vice chair, and I will now appoint Alderman Solis to the Finance Committee. General Operations is Alderman Henriot, Alderman Wilson, and Alderman Beezer. And Public Works is Alderwoman Carrie Deschner Brandt, Luis Solis, and Alderman Purcell. Item number 12.2 is mayor's appointments of citizens to committee, boards, and commissions subject to council approval. Finance Committee is, if you recall, at the last council meeting, for those that aren't aware, we allowed for citizen appointments to some of these committees to make it in line with Public Works. So now that they are uniform, I think that's a great thing to get more citizen involvement. So we had approved 1 citizen. At that time, I still had 1 citizen appointment to make, and I had someone reach out to me, and I will at this time nominate, and it's subject to a majority vote, Kevin Armstrong is a citizen appointee to the Finance Committee. Is there, well, do you want to take these individually or all together?
Why don't we take them individually?
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve Kevin Armstrong for the Finance Committee.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. As well, there was 1 citizen appointment made to the General Operations Committee. Last committee, there was still 1 open, and at this time, I would nominate Kelvin Square as the last citizen appointment to the General Operations Committee.
I'll make a motion that we pass that.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Delbrook Golf Commission, succeeding Chris Nygarth. I had someone that I reached out to who has extensive experience, having served under, I don't know, under Mayor Neuenhuis at the time, and she is interested in coming back, and that would be, I would nominate at this time Sandy Tees, succeeding Chris Nygarth. Is there a motion to approve Sandy Tees?
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Downtown Project Management Team, succeeding Paul Page, the financial institution representative. we're looking for potentially either still someone from a financial background or perhaps a legal background, and I have not had anyone step up yet. So if anyone on the council, anyone in the community knows of someone that's involved with a financial institution, banking experience, law background, certainly would entertain any thoughts, pass those along to the city administrator, myself as the mayor, or anyone on the city council, and we could look to fill that last 3-year term succeeding Paul Page to the downtown project management team. Tour, yeah, so we'll just keep that in mind for a future agenda item. Tourism Commission, we need succeeding Dave Securis for a 1-year term is Dave Securis. Succeeding Lori Wutke is Lori Wutke. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve both of those individuals to the Tourism Commission for a 1-year term.
I would move to approve Dave Securis and Lori Wutke to the Tourism Commission for a 1-year term.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 12.3 is mayor's appointment of aldermen to board and commissions subject to council approval. Parks and Recreation, I will appoint our new alderman, Tommy Purcell, to the Parks and Rec Commission. So now we will have a citizen opening on the Park and Rec Commission. So if that's of any interest to anyone here or in the community, please, we had approved Tommy as a citizen appointment last month to the Park and Rec Commission, so now we'll have an opening there as a citizen. So again, if there's someone you know who's interested in that, please let our city administrator know, someone on the city council, or myself. Let's see. So Police and Fire Commission, I will appoint, and again, all these were subject not knowing exactly who was gonna take over the open seat, so I'm kind of doing this a little bit on the fly here, but we're getting through it. So I will appoint Alderman Wilson to the Police and Fire Commission.
I'm already on 3 committees.
But this one doesn't meet.
Another one.
Yeah.
Good boy.
This one doesn't meet all that, not monthly anyways, so. So I'll put Alderman Wilson. Do you want to take, I should have asked, should we take these maybe individually as well, or?
You can,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so, why don't we back up then, and then just Park and Recreation would be Alderman Purcell.
I nominate Tommy for that.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Alderman Purcell to the appointment to the Parks and Rec signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Then Police and Fire Commission, Alderman Wilson.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Alderman Wilson to the Police and Fire Commission. I'd second.
All those, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Community Development Authority, I would appoint Alderman Beezer and Alderman Purcell.
I move that we approve those two for the Community Development Authority.
I'd second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And I think there's just probably just a
Typo? Okay, just making sure.
so so,
Just making sure.
thank you again, all of you, for your willingness to serve on the various boards and commissions. And I think tried to put everybody in an area that they showed interest in. I'm sorry I didn't have more of an opportunity to know exactly whether it was Alderman Purcell where some of those, but I think it'll be a good fit for you as well. And so thank you again for, tried to spread it out, try to keep it even so not anyone was too overworked or overloaded. So thank you again for your willingness to serve on the various boards and commissions. With that, item number 13 is public comment.
Mr. Mayor, is the Police and Fire Commission?
We took that earlier, so is this a
Okay.
type?
Right, thank you.
Yep,
Sorry.
that's okay. Item number 13 is public comments. At this point, I would invite any citizens who would like to address the chair at this point of the meeting to please limit your comments to once for 2 minutes. Anyone like to make any comments at this time? Seeing none?
Mayor, could I make a comment?
Sure, absolutely.
Only because there's no other place to say it.
Sure, sure.
I have given the council all of 4th of July cruise information. It was, as was reported by Alderman Henriette, we are looking at an alternative for the 4th of July. So we have distributed information on least with the staff's recommendation of kind of how we'd like to proceed with that modified event for the 4th of July for community input. So if you want to review it and just let us know, and just want to make people aware that we are looking for something, and to make sure that they look for information on it, hopefully within the next couple weeks.
Thank you. Is there any opportunities for, I suppose a lot of this will still be talked about at the Park and Rec Commission, but if citizens have any ideas or want to participate, how do we?
So right now, what we're looking, or at least the suggestion was from Parks and Recreation, that we actually have people register. We are trying to, the whole idea of this is really a drive, kind of a community residents to decorate their vehicles and participate in more of a cruise through the community instead of our normal parade. We really probably will not publicize the route, because the idea is to not encourage or to encourage social distancing, so we really don't want people to be congregating on a parade route, but it will be an opportunity for the community to decorate their vehicles and participate, and we're trying to really go through residential areas. So this came up as a suggestion from our council members, and we think it's a really nice way to allow the community to be involved in a different type of parade for the 4th of July that'll be more consistent with the guidance that we've been provided by the county.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding that. Sure. If we are not putting out a route, I remember that one of the discussion points was to allow people to stay at their homes and watch the cars as they drive by. Well, if they don't know if the route is going to go past them because there's no way to determine that, how are they going to know? I think that it might be conducive to at least plan a route. If the idea is to go to the residential areas, plan a route that includes all of the residential areas.
They do have a route planned.
Yeah, so the question was, and that we can talk about further, the question was, concern is if we publicize it, we may get a lot of people going to certain areas. And so, so that might be, or it might be something that can be given out 24 hours in advance, or that morning, where to look, just so that you're not encouraging other people to come and congregate in certain areas that might increase the number of people and defeat the purpose. But I think it is, and we did talk about that, because you know, we're hoping that One is if we do enough on trying to get as many streets as possible in the community, we have really loud sirens between our fire department and police. And if they start sounding those before they get close to that residential area, if people are expecting it, that may bring them out, but just bring those people out who's living in those areas versus coming from other states or other areas of Wisconsin.
My main concern is just, this is a brand-new initiative that we're trying, and we're trying to do this so that we can be safe for the community. And as much information as they can get ahead of time is definitely going to help them plan.
I think this is just comments at
Comments.
this point. so
Comments,
we'll-
that's right.
We don't want to get into the discussion of
Yeah,
this.
it's not on the agenda, and so that's to be.
Stay tuned for more details. And
Thank you.
thank you, though. Any other comments, public comments at this time? I didn't see any earlier, so I assume there's none. Item number 14 is suggested future agenda items. Is there any suggested future agenda items at this point? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 15, which is recess to close session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session regarding leases and agreements impacted by COVID-19. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make
So
the
moved.
Yep.
There's a-
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Henriette,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Alderman Painter,
Yes.
Alderman Solis,
Yes.
Alderman Purcell,
Yes.
Alderwoman Deschner Brandt. Yes.
All right, we'll take a little recess to break down the camera and say goodbye to our attendees. Thanks for joining